Hello chess lovers, Soren here, and in this video I want to share with you another very exciting attacking game played by the legend Mikhail. In this game Tal's opponent is Soviet chess grandmaster Eduard Gufeld. The game was played in 1968 in Gori at Karseladze Memorial. Gori is a city in Georgia. In this game Tal had white pieces and he opened up with e4, to which Gufeld answered with d6. d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6. Black is going for Pirc defense, a solid opening with which black is allowing white to occupy the center in order later to undermine it. Here white has a wide range of options, can play f4, bishop e3, g3. In the game we see bishop g5. This line starting with bishop g5 is known as Byrne variation, c6, queen d2, b5. By advancing on the queen side, black is getting ready to start a quick attack as soon as white castles queen side. Bishop d3, bishop g7, knight f3, but still we can see that Tal is not hurrying with revealing his intentions and instead is developing his pieces. h6, bishop e3, and now castling is a problem because all the time this bishop is eyeballing on h6. That's why black played knight g4. At all costs, black wants to get rid of this aggressive bishop, which apart from attacking this pawn, in many cases can be very useful when organizing the kingside attack. d takes e5, d takes e5, bishop g3, h5, and now black is not only threatening a move like h4, but also is freeing the h6 square, and bishop h6 can also be very unpleasant for white. Yeah, you can't even castle queenside. That's why Tal played h3, and in return black counterattacked white's dark squared bishop. H takes g4, h takes g3, and there it goes, rook takes h8 check. Bishop takes h8, and in here instead of losing time on f takes g3, Tal made a very aggressive and strong queen h6 move. Here we see a Zug g takes f2 check, king e2. An interesting decision by Tal, although king takes f2 is also playable. Quite possibly Tal was not eager to put his king on g1a7 diagonal in order later not to allow any unpleasant checks. Already this guy on h8 is hanging with bishop f6, g5, bishop e7, queen h8 check, bishop f8. Black managed to cover his king successfully, although left the pawn on e5 unprotected, which Tal munched. Queen takes e5, bishop e6. This is not really good. Queen e7 is stronger. Of course, in here, if we take a look at the position, we can see that white has an extra pawn, but this line is better than the one which we see in our game. In our game, bishop e6 was made by Gufeld, which steps into a very strong tactical shot. Can you find Tal's next move? Ready? Here's the magician from Riga made a very aggressive piece sacrifice, and with knight takes b5. Black king is vulnerable, and by relying on this sacrifice, Tal is managing to target it. Knight d7, rook d1. We have a very ugly pin. Queen e7. This is already a losing move. Now look, at this point there is a very subtle thing which I want you to understand. So now if you go for bishop e7 straight away, then white can capture on d7, and after bishop takes d7 can play rook h1. And there is no defense, white is winning. That's why instead of playing bishop e7 straight away, at this point it's very important first to play f1 queen, in order after king takes f1 block the first rank and only then play bishop e7. Already at this point you can no longer go for this venomous rook h1 move. But Gufeld missed this brilliant defensive resource and played queen e7, and now let's see what's the problem with it. Here Tal landed another heavy punch, and at this point he played, can you find his next move? Ready? This time we see rook takes d7, although bishop takes d7 is also playable. Bishop takes d7, bishop takes d7 check, king takes d7, queen d5 check. And now white will win the rook on a8. And there we have it. The position got simplified and white has a totally winning position. This queen is still protecting the pawn on e4, and this pawn on f2 will soon drop as well. queen c5, c3, neutralizing the threat, queen c4 check, king takes f2. White's position is totally winning. Queen takes a2, queen d5, forcing an exchange of queens. Queen takes d5, e takes d5. So at this point white has 2 extra pawns, right? And now let's see how Tal realized the advantage. b4, a6, king g4, or protecting the pawn and freeing the knight. Bishop c1, knight e1, bishop e3, knight d3, bishop d2, g3. Victory is just a matter of moves, you know, king c7. Well, if bishop e3, then knight f4, and then c5 check. Yes, this is how white can make a progress. In the game we see king c7, and anyways, the c pawn stepped forward. King d7, knight d5 check, king c8, d6. White is sacrificing the pawn on b4, but the outcome of the game is already decided. Knight c6. With a double threat, king takes d7, knight takes b4. a5, knight d3, and finally at this point we see a resignation. Yeah, there is nothing black can do. If king c6, then this king can come to support the c pawn. Yeah, just no way out, you know, this is an easy win. That's why after knight d3 resignation followed. Another very impressive attacking game by Tal. With several nice sacrifices he managed to target the opponent's king and soon forced a resignation. This is another brilliant example how one can target opponent's king stuck in the center. In the end, a chess puzzle for you where the task is to find the winning line for white. As usual, we'll wait for your answer in the comment section. Feel free to check out my early uploads as well. We'll see you in my next video. Take care.